right, we'll start with my ethos of editing. I have a lot of notes, but we will start with the summary. My ethos is value your audience's time, waste as little of their time as possible, and just because experienced people do something does not mean that you should do it. Now I want to rewind. I need to issue a correction. Last week I said Joe Rogan and No Agenda do not edit their shows. I was corrected in the comments and on other podcasts like Planet Rage. They corrected me. No Agenda and Joe Rogan do edit. But they don't edit in the way that I would classify a show as being an edited show. For No Agenda, if they have 10 minutes or 20 minutes of technical difficulties when they're trying to troubleshoot Zoom, they will edit that out before they publish the show. If Joe and his guest decide, let's go ahead and cut that few seconds because it will cause too much outrage, too much hullabaloo, too much hubbub, they will agree to that and they will edit that out. They will mute it. They will blur the mouth. To my knowledge, that is the extent of their editing. When I am talking about a show being edited, I am thinking about a show that will repeat a line 15 times because they keep flubbing it, and they try to sound as polished as possible. This is what I do on my main channel, on Podcastage. If I screw up, I will say the line again until I get it right, and edit just the single take that was the best. Full transparency, this is the issue with editing your show. I screwed up, and then I wanted to go back and start a section over, but I don't know what I said. And it creates an issue because now I just stand here with a dumb look on my face thinking, what do I say? Of course I'll edit all that out. Not this, because I want you to see the flip side of the coin, the downside to editing. Because it's always a crutch. Oh gosh, if I screw up, I can fix it. If I wasn't editing, I wouldn't have this problem. So you do also have, for example, a roundtable discussion about audio engineering where they go on a 15-minute tangent about farting. That's not really valuable to somebody who came to a show to hear a discussion about audio engineering, so perhaps you should edit that out. It's about putting the best foot forward as opposed to ensuring there's not such an obvious waste of time, such an obvious zero value ad. I know that sounds very corporate, but 10 minutes of troubleshooting a connection issue, pulling that out is a no-brainer. For a lot of podcasters, there's a bit of arrogance, perhaps. Everything I say is pure gold. This 15-minute discussion about farts made my friends and I laugh a lot, so we're going to leave it in. In reality, you might want to look at it from the audience's perspective, the listener's perspective. Is there anything worth actually listening to there? If not, maybe pull it out. So when I talk about edited shows, that is what I am thinking about. Now I want to give you a bit of background on me. I know a lot of you already know this, but it's important to understand my background to understand why I have this perspective on editing. I have been making videos since 2000. I've been making very bad videos since 2000. I started uploading to YouTube in 2005. I did not start podcasting until 2013. So when I am talking about editing, I am talking about editing from the perspective of a YouTuber. And that's as far as I will go. I will label myself a YouTuber, nothing more. Filmmaker? Nope. Anything more than that? Certainly not. YouTuber? Sometimes that's a stretch, but that is the perspective I have. And I remember very early on hearing, I think it was Adam Savage from Mythbusters and Tested.com say, people know within the first 30 seconds if they are going to watch your entire video. I think that figure may be outdated because nowadays, as attention spans have shrunk due to shorter form content, I think it's more 3 to 5 seconds. Within 3 to 5 seconds, they know. And if you were to look at my retention analytics on YouTube, people know within about half a millisecond that they are going to hate my guts, so they click off the video. But all of that to say this, that is how I approach my videos. I want to provide people an understanding of what the video is going to be about so that they can make an informed decision within the first couple of seconds whether they want to watch it or not. That is me respecting their time. Is it detrimental to me and the YouTube algorithm system? Absolutely. But I don't make videos for the algorithm. I make videos for people to watch. And if somebody comes to my channel looking for a piece of content and they feel tricked into watching it, that's going to leave a very bad taste in their mouth. If I provide them all the information they need to determine, okay, I'm not going to watch that. I appreciate him letting me know so I didn't waste my time. Next time they're looking, maybe they will find me and enjoy it. And I think that is something that a lot of podcasters can learn from. That's something that I try to use in my podcast. It's why I started doing the Today We're Discussing This. Because yes, this is a video podcast as well, but I want people who are listening to audio only to understand what the show will be about as well, even though the consumption habits are different. So I think podcasters can learn a lot from YouTubers. YouTubers can also learn a lot from podcasting. Maybe that's something we could discuss on a later show. But as far as YouTube and podcasting, I understand completely different mediums, completely different formats, completely different consumption habits from the listeners and viewers. But there is something to be said for respecting your audience's time, for doing all that you can to ensure your audience is finding value in what you're providing. Always keeping this in the back of your mind. How is this actually valuable to my audience? How is somebody going to learn from this? How is somebody going to enjoy this? That's something that a lot of podcasters may not think about because they just think, I'm just going to talk for an hour. Whatever happens, happens. But if you were to watch somebody like Mr. Beast, I know a lot of people probably hate him, but Mr. Beast, it's bang, bang, bang. Here's the cold open. Here's another hanger, cliffhanger, whatever it's called. Here's something to keep you engaged. Oh, 30 seconds later, another thing to keep you engaged. It's this constant reminder. Here is why you are watching this video. And perhaps us as podcasters, yes, myself included, because I am rambling, maybe I should constantly have this thing in the back of my head. Why is somebody watching? Why is somebody listening? Grab their attention again. And that's something that us podcasters can learn from YouTubers. There's another pitfall that I want to discuss, though, and that is people using experienced individuals to justify their bad behavior. That is why, when I was thinking of shows to use as examples, I used No Agenda and Joe Rogan last week. Those shows, both of them, incredibly popular. Those shows, both of them, hosted by very experienced broadcasters. Joe Rogan, been on TV since the 90s, been a stand-up comedian for 30 years. No Agenda, run by Adam Curry. He was on MTV, then he was on radio, or he was on radio, then MTV, then podcasting since 2004. John C. Dvorak, if I am not mistaken, on TV as well. Tech TV probably, podcasts, radio, all that stuff for decades. That is a lot of experience. That is a lot of practice, a lot of time to improve. And I may be incorrect here, but my assumption would be in television, you don't just get on a microphone and ramble forever. You have a director. You have somebody there saying, that take wasn't good. You were mumbling. You weren't as clear and concise as we wanted. Do it again. Every single time that happens, you are being informed of what works and what doesn't work, what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. The reason I'm bringing that up, that is a form of editing that becomes ingrained in people who do it over and over again. So by new podcasters just completely bypassing the editing phase and saying, well, No Agenda and Joe Rogan and a bunch of other popular shows don't edit, or they edit very minimally, I'm going to do that too. They are completely bypassing that phase where they learn what works and what doesn't work. By bypassing it, they are skipping this portion of the process that allows them to be hypercritical about what they're saying, how they're saying it, how they're performing on microphone, how they got to the point or not, how they meandered about. And that editing process where you're hypercritical allows you to pinpoint a couple of things each episode that you need to improve on. That's how you get better. Not by mindlessly rambling into a microphone because you think that's what the greats do. By improving upon iteration upon iteration, listening, editing, fine-tuning. And without that editing process, without listening with that hypercritical ear, you miss it. You waste your time. You end up wasting your audience's time. In most cases, I should clarify, some people are just naturally talented. They get on the microphone. James Earl Jones? Who's a famous orator? Who's somebody who can just get on a microphone and speak for hours and it's gold all the time? I don't know. I think that is the issue with people using experienced individuals to justify their bad behavior. They are shooting themselves in the foot because they are thinking they are going to perform as well as somebody who has been doing it for 30 years. That's not the case. I have a couple of examples of this. The first one, a YouTuber started a podcast, and the podcast did not pick up. They came to me and said, "Bandrew, why do you think this is not getting views?" I watched one episode. I knew exactly what the issue was. I conveyed it to them. They ignored it. Why? Because Joe Rogan does it. Why can't I do it? The issue... The show starts, 3 minutes of advertisements. Here's a product I was paid to talk about. Buy it. It gives me money. Return the value. Oh, I have an email list. Give me your personal information so I can email you and try to sell you more stuff. Then 2 more minutes. Hey, I'm a professional. I have courses. Give me money, please. Monies, please. I will teach you. So you need to give me money, personal information, and more money. 6 minutes of that. That may fly on some audio podcasts. I would argue it doesn't really ever. It doesn't ever fly. But on YouTube, certainly not going to fly. So you need to understand the platform you're publishing on. And again, just because somebody was experienced and popular and talented and famous can get away with something does not mean you can. I hate this concept, this entitlement that a lot of people feel. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, really helps out the channel. Before you provide any information, before you provide any value, why the hell would anybody do that? Why would anybody like your video, give you a subscription? Why would anybody click on your ad, go to the advertiser that's paying you money, sign up for your email list, buy one of your courses when you have offered them zero value? They don't know if what you're saying is good or bad, a waste of their time, or the greatest thing ever. That's this sense of entitlement. I'm going to give you an ad before I offer any value, and I will expect you to buy it because I want money. I want money, so buy it. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. No. That's why I don't start my shows. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. Here's an ad. Sign up for my email list. No. I do stuff like that at the very end of the video. Was it valuable? Like it. If it sucked, give me a thumbs down. I don't know why you're still watching at 7 minutes, but thanks. Thanks for the view time. That's the first example. The second one is more direct. This is drunk and high podcasters. People watched Joe Rogan. He gets drunk. He gets high with his buddies. They laugh. They giggle. They have a good time. And then everybody who watches that says, "Oh, that was fun. I giggled. I laughed too. My friends and I are hilarious when we're drunk. We're going to record." It's so bad that it became a meme. I don't think this type of show are as common as they used to be, but it was very common at one point. The drunk guys around a microphone meme. And the reason people thought this was acceptable, why this was a good form of content, is because they saw Joe Rogan doing it. But why did it work for Joe Rogan? Because he has 30 years of experience as a stand-up comedian. Not only that, who are his friends, who he's drinking with and getting drunk with and getting high with. A lot of them stand-up comedians with decades of experience. Are you and your friends as funny as a bunch of stand-up comedians with 30 years of experience? I don't think so. This type of show is unwatchable most of the time. Why am I saying this? Why am I being so mean? Because I did it. I am embarrassed to admit this. This was the first type of show that I did. I listened to people like Joe Rogan. I listened to a bunch of podcasts that were interview-based, roundtable-based, and I thought, that conversation was interesting. My friends and I, we are just as funny. We are just as interesting. We should do that too. So I would get blind, stinking drunk and tried to have some form of interesting conversation with my friends. Was it? I don't think so. No. Luckily, I had the good sense to not publish any of it. Took 5 months to record 5 episodes that never saw the light of day, but it's just editing couldn't even save that. So maybe record your episodes in the right state of mind and improve upon your skill set, edit, fine-tune, and then once you've become a very skilled podcaster, a talented podcaster, a broadcaster, then you can start to introduce mind-altering substances, and maybe it will be interesting. For me, no, it's not going to be. So those are the 2 examples. To reiterate my points, because I meandered about quite a bit. Again, this is the 3rd time recording this. What you ought to do: respect your audience's time, provide value as much as you can, and just because experienced and famous and talented people do something, it does not mean that you can. Don't use Joe Rogan as your baseline for how a podcast should be, how you can run your podcast. No, ain't gonna work. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. Maybe it will work. And I want to end this section with a disclaimer. This is all my opinion. It's based on my experience, based on my focus, and it's what I have learned. If you want to go get drunk with your friends and record a podcast, more power to you. If podcasting is a hobby that you just do for fun and you like the entire process of sitting around a microphone talking with your friends, more power to you. I am not saying that every show needs to edit. I am just advocating that if you are trying to do it to garner an audience and grow that audience and get the word of mouth going and maybe eventually get some kind of income stream from it, you really should be thinking of your audience first. But no matter what you decide to do, go forth and have fun with it. I don't care what you do. It's your life. It's your hobby. You can do whatever you want to do. I am just sharing my opinion. That is it for my ethos on editing YouTube videos and podcasts. I tried to make that as valuable as possible. I think I got a bit rambly, though. A little bit heady, a little bit up my own rear end, a little bit pretentious, perhaps. Hey, that's a good plosive test.